I've seen it 1,000 times. The coccygeal vertebrae is the small last part of the spinal vertebrae column. It curves under, and at the end of that is a nerve center that controls the sexual or genital organs of the body. It is close, very close to the queen of the south. And we're going to look at that in Revelations, which the Spirit opened something up for me just a couple of days ago. It's been a mystery for me for a long time concerning this particular part of Revelation. So I'm learning as I give this out. I don't know all this stuff, depending on the Spirit to give me something. And one of the big problems of this center, why I've been putting it off and jumping over the lower chakra, is because of the tremendous power that is there, plus the rehearsed aspect of our nature in terms of our sexuality, sensuality, our appetite as human beings, and the problem of human beings of addiction. Eating is an addiction. Sleeping is an addiction. C.M. Bay once said, Moors don't sleep, they rest. There's a difference in losing consciousness and going to a higher level of consciousness. You can stay awake as you practice the spirituality while your body rests. You can actually come up out of the body and linger over it while your body sleeps and snores. And you can be conscious all night and wake up the next morning in the body refreshed. Sexuality is an addiction, unfortunately. Otherwise we probably would be doing the white boys caveman stuff, grab a sister by the hand, drag her into the bushes. But the tendency to care about someone, to feel a passion for someone, allows us to behave ourselves. See, once we get control of the passion, the problem is being unfortunately illustrated and demonstrated, because television keeps illustrating violent sexuality, keeps demonstrating the power of violence and the mystique of death. You wonder why our kids 12 and 13 years old can't even spell gun, will pick up a gun and shoot, because they have all of these images of seeing somebody shoot a gun. Well, all of this deeper, denser passion of human nature is down in these centers. So I put it off till you get some knowledge about the higher potential, so that you'll have a greater appreciation of where we're going, because as you go up, you got to let go of something, and we don't like to do that. Something no academic institution or religious institution in the Western Hemisphere has ever taught human beings is that you can outgrow sex. There's a point when it is no longer a factor of maturity. Then there's a point where there's perfect balance in your sexual relationship, and it becomes spiritual. Where you hug your woman and y'all both go up in lights. The brother told me about the experience he had of being very frustrated, so he rolled over and laid on his woman's stomach, and the spiritual sky opened up. And they both lay there and meditated, because they were both spiritually prepared for such an experience. He may not have gotten that experience without his woman. The other plus factor of having a compatible, harmonious mate. Okay, how did I get into that? Oh, okay. The coccygeal vertebrae is where the chakras are not in the vertebrae. The nerve endings are. The chakras are in your etheric or causal body. The ganglionic centers are in your physical body. The spiritual centers that illumine the astral body are in your astral body. Those are the pearls, the 12 pearls in the body. The 12 apostles are your ganglionic centers in your physical body. But in order for the power of your spirit to stimulate your physiology and your mentality, which is from here to the soles of your feet, your mind is throughout your entire body, it has to ignite and excite something. Just as the planets enter and exchange electricity between themselves to give us weather condition and to kick our behinds at various times. When you hear all like, it was a couple of nights ago, crack, pow, a bunch of folks got up under the bed about 3 o'clock in the morning. Woke me up, man. Sounded dangerous. But that's just electricity being exchanged from, millions of miles away. Those are big bolts, You're talking about the big lights, they'd be happening out there, Those are just little ones that come and strike a tree. One of the big ones hit the big planet center. Half y'all be standing on that side and half is on this side looking at a big gap in between. But the universe is in order. Somebody is always 24/7 in charge. Okay, what I want to read here for you great Moors who brought your Bibles, the rest of you Negroes just listen on. Turn to Matthew chapter 12. Who has it? Where's your sister today, my brother? She always brings the Bible.
She's visiting with her mother.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I guess I'll have to read it, seeing I'm the only one here with a Bible. Write this down, though. Matthew 12, chapter 12, verse 42. In terms of the cosmic complement of the African woman who shows the blueprint under which she is made in relationship to the feminine aspect of the universe. Remember, the concept of queen means soul and power. King means authority. The queen already has authority because she has power. When the brother gets his crown, then he has the authority and power.
It's Matthew what?
Matthew chapter 12, verse 42. A verse that has mystified the Negro preacher for thousands of years. I'm going to get off your biscuit. I can't go about it. And now, this particular author, Schofield, who black folks think is God himself and wrote this Bible and handed to him, refers to the sign of the Queen of Sheba. Symbolically, that's fine. That's okay. The most familiar personality of the Queen certainly would be that of Sheba. There's very little mention of a Israelite Jewish queen, if you have noted that. There's much glorification or acknowledgement of a woman in the religion of Judaism. The concept, the Queen of Heaven, is used once in the Bible, and Queen Mother is used once in the Bible. Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, there's a part in Anacalypsis that talks about the Jews hate the feminine principle. Whole chapter on that in Anacalypsis.
Anacalypsis?
Yeah.
Yeah, they really had a problem about the woman. No wonder them Jewish women are so hard on the poor. They do a job on them. Give them the knuckle under. Okay. The Queen of the South shall rise up with this generation at the judgment and shall condemn it. And of course, the academics is the Queen of what South? The South of Israel, the South of Jordan, the South of South Africa. It's in relationship to no aspect of the planet. Why it's left hanging as the Queen of the South. But the south is where, Isaac?
Down at the root,
Where?
at your feet.
And where else?
Yeah, north to south.
It's got to be down there.
Y'all say the root, that's why I said the first time. Okay.
We want to understand that sense of direction. That's why it's important to know where you are as well as who you are. That you're in the body, not of it. That it has its points of direction, just as the compass illustrates its point of direction. And so you know where the power is to come from. A, expectancy. B, the eradication of fear is what knowledge does for us. The more you know about yourself, your nature, the more you understand about the processes of meditation and the practice, the higher your sense of expectancy is, and the less both fear and surprise you have. You don't want to keep having experiences and coming out of them. You know? Remember, you move in cycles. And in each part of that cycle, you get something unique. So if you yank yourself out of it on this cycle, then you may have to wait 4 cycles later to get the same experience. You don't want to do that. So you want to get as much of fear out of the way. I didn't talk about that last week, but I should have, about blockages of fear and also pain, the pain experiences. Don't let me forget that. Some of the stuff I intend to talk about, I let slide back. I'm trying to get to illustrate. I still didn't do that right.
I know.
I'm trying to get the rump in there. Let me do that. I should have had my other chart here. Coccygeal vertebrae, this little bone area. We're going to concentrate on that today. And let me do this because I want to read some stuff about the dangers of and the pluses of the center. It is powerful and dangerous simultaneously. It is wonderful and dangerous simultaneously. It's both a blessing and a burden simultaneously. Okay? So I'm going to read some stuff directly about what I've read here and then comment on and maybe share some of my own experiences. The Queen of the South shall rise up with this generation at the judgment and shall condemn it. This word here is the kind of energy we have now, the energy that is generated. 2,000 years ago was the energy that they had then, the energy that they had generated. Basic human biochemical electromagnetic makeup, whatever that energy level was, which was lower then than it is now. All we're talking about is this addition of generation. That's what the Kundalini is doing, is regenerating your energy, opening up your cellular level, your nuclear or nucleus level of your body. The word nuclear, atom, and nuclear atomic bomb is the same root derivative of the word nucleus in your body. The same dynamic power that's in that bomb is in our bodies, even higher. In your spiritualization, in your regeneration, you come nearer and nearer to this atomic power in its varied types and forms. We really are extraordinarily powerful beings. When you get to that level, then you begin to understand how a thought can become manifest in a moment or instant by your thinking or proclamation or visualization. How a thought can destroy a thing instantly or create a thing instantly. Then you begin to appreciate the level of what mastership in Godhood is in terms of not just Jesus, but all of the masters down through the ages. The example that we have of Horus, a black man, as God, in terms of what has been symbolically shared, allegorically shared of the life of Jesus, gives us an idea of our potential. And as it stated, that greater things than these shall you do. That's important to keep in the psyche that we are unlimited. One of the important factors for the African and the Western hemisphere is to get beyond the reduced and seduced state of limitation. We're performing far under par. As we see this lopsided balanced scale of achievements, all these super beings over here, all athletes, and over here all singers, and over here all buck dancers. We don't have any of these mental giants in sciences. We can count the number of spiritual masters on our finger in this country, and that's off balance in terms of our human evolutionary scale, our clock of destiny. But if they are around, there's a few, I would venture to say, in America, and many more in both Africa and Egypt. My suspicion, intuitively, is that the great masters of Africa are in the Sudan and in the mountains of Kilimanjaro. I don't know what they're doing, why they're waiting so long, but I suspect that they are there. That the original Sufi order is not in India. It's in Africa. And the highest spiritual order that I know of is the Sufi order. Okay. The point of condemnation is the point of taking away the power and the influence of a thing. Not condemn to hell, like Reverend Jones is telling everybody, you're going to hell. Well, what the spiritual knowledge of the concept of condemnation is to de-authorize human power while instating God power. That's the major key from Revelations 1 to 22, because there's some scary stuff in there. I at a point, don't blame most folks for not reading Revelation. Revelations scare you to church. But it is more good than it is negative. In the unraveling of the symbology, you begin to see the absolute goodness of God. As you understand the process of transformation is what we're undergoing. Regeneration is a part of the process of transformation, which exceeds evolution. That's what's important to understand about spiritual development. You make quantum leaps. In other words, you can get done in this lifetime what you have not been able to do for hundreds of lifetimes. If we had, we wouldn't be here. In terms of what the dynamic of the grace of God really means, is at the point of opening up all of the spiritual avenues to the human race. That's what's available in 1993. That was not available during the time of Jesus and before, except for the quote, the select. Some master on a higher plane chose a few to hurry up and to develop so that they become either teachers or presenters of the message of divinity on the fundamental levels and degrees of evolution and revolution of the process of development. But in this era, one can almost, without a master, reach certain higher planes just by yearning. That's how near we are to this power. That's how much of this power is open in our nature. Why so much going off the deep end? People can't handle the higher energy that's coming through them. they don't even know it's higher energy. If they're filled up with base, subconscious levels of cravings and yearnings and urges, that's how they're going to express greater energy. If they have a religious context of usually the highest level most people are willing to gravitate to, from getting baptized on Sunday and suddenly Monday they're the saints of the Lord, then they gravitate to the saint. Well, saint of the Lord don't happen overnight. The concept saint in the French means illumined one. That's when you're a saint. When you are full of light, that's what sainthood is. Okay, let me get back here. I'm moving a little slower than I want to, but I want to make some things very clear. This is very interesting verse here. The Queen of the South shall rise up with this generation at the judgment. And another concept, judgment. We're all looking for the last day and the last judgment. We get judged every day. And most of it, we're doing ourselves. We judge ourselves. Particularly if we have a poor image of ourselves. We don't think well of ourselves. We condemn ourselves more than we bless ourselves. More than we compliment ourselves. We criticize ourselves. We psychologically set ourselves on paths of punishment and repayment. Because of our peculiar sense of guilt, persecution, and inferiority complexes. Those are the three major complexes that seem to haunt black folks more than anything else. And so part of this failure complex, we got this self-sabotage syndrome that we carry around in the back of our heads and let it trip up our highest dreams and greatest aspirations, and we have to stop doing it on an individual scale. You have to get to this level where you calmly accept prosperity, calmly accept good health. Be happy all day long. Wake up in the morning happy and go to bed happy. That in most folks' life would be miraculous, and it should be the norm of the day. You should expect to be happy 24 hours out of 24 hours. But we're buying into the complexes that are a part of this culture. We hear folks cussing out black folks every day. I was downtown the day before yesterday. I had to hurry up and get away from down there at all. And Negro preachers down there. God gonna tear up this whole planet, kill all y'all. I said, oh, didn't say one good thing about God or man. Not one good thing. That's when you know God didn't send that human being there. That human being is there out of frustration, fear of the Lord, and guilt. That's not divine appointment. God appoints by love and wisdom, knowledge, and power. Not by foolishness, not by anger, anxiety, and frustration. That's human condition. That's what we're getting ready to talk about this Babylon. Where let me get to this. Let me finish this here. Because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. Okay, where's the end of the earth against Isaac?
Down towards the root chakra.
All right, yes, okay. The ends of the earth. Okay. That's where the queen comes from. The power of Kundalini is feminine. That's why it's symbolically represented by queen. Okay. There's more womanhood going on than the good preacher would dare let be known. Okay. To hear the wisdom of Solomon. Where is the center of wisdom, Cornelius? In the human body. Right, in the solar plexus. But something greater than this, Jesus said, is here. Well, what's greater than wisdom? Supreme wisdom. The mind of God. The higher mind. Supreme wisdom. Not super consciousness, not Christ consciousness, supreme wisdom. That's where the Christ leads to. The mind of God takes you to the level of supreme consciousness. That's where Kundalini is going. That's where the Queen of the South is rising up to do the condemning of this generation, for all of the negative energy, the negative karmic dirt to samskar, all of the blockages in your psyche, the accumulation of, one brother had an experience in his meditation, I won't call his name out, but I'll share the experience he told me about, because I had the same one, of meditating. I don't know if he made affirmations beforehand, and then suddenly a loud pop sound came into the room, and that was a thought. You know, and probably each one of you will have that experience. As to whether you hear it or not, you know, it'll be based upon your individual spiritual type. Some people have the experience, but they're sleeping when it happens. You know? But it's really loud. Thoughts are things that occupy both time and space. They are real. And when this energy hits, particularly well, I'm left-handed, so it would be on the right side of my brain. If you're right-handed, it would be on the left side of your brain, where negative thoughts get clogged at. If you get one of them headaches and can't figure out why, it's accumulation of negative thinking, anger, frustration, bad attitude, talking about somebody, you know, accumulates all of this stuff, and it gets clogged in your brain area referred to as your psyche, and it hurts. Not only that, it also distorts your thinking from that point forward. You're thinking with the wrong energy, with an accumulation of that, of negative thought force, is what you find yourself thinking. Okay, I went out to little 5 points a couple of days ago to get something that you'll hear today, and I had to go to the restroom. I went to one place and it was closed, so I went to the most immediate place, and there was a bar right there in little 5 points, a white bar, you know. Oh, it was going to take me, I don't sit there and drink nothing with them people. And it's really interesting, because I went in and nobody said anything to me. I went to the restroom and I come on out. On the way out, I got almost out of the bar, and the bartender says, "Get her out of here." I didn't look back, and I just kept, and then when I got closer to him, he says, "And don't come back." Just like that, you know. The energy from his words didn't even reach me. You know, usually somebody hollers real loud behind you, you either flinch. You naturally, you know, which it isn't natural. That's neuron the absence of neuron particles in the nervous system when you do that. You know, that has nothing to do with the natural alarm system when somebody, quote, scares you. And I started because. And I know the Spirit stopped me, because I started to turn right to go catch the bus. The Spirit stopped me like this, and then turned my head this way, and then turned my head this way. And when I got up to the bus stop, the Spirit said, "I just showed him who you are." But the point I'm trying to make is that what's inside of me is what we all need to prevent the disease that is transmitted, called racism, that causes hypertension from people who hate. That's essentially the essence of racism and the essence of hypertension for black folks in this country. Dr. Johnson in Atlanta, Georgia, was doing experiments in the 70s on hypertension, where his theory was being verified that it was a social atmospheric disease, and he died of hypertension that year. I don't want to get too much of the guys, some other experiences to verify that. And nothing written down. I'm talking about what I experienced, what the Spirit told me the energy coming from a white person's body was. This peculiar, bitter, tasting energy. Dude was standing right next to me, both putting cans up on a shelf at a warehouse. And I said, what in the world is that? I said, that's racism. It was coming out of his right side. Blonde, blue-haired, white boy. We sitting there talking just as polite, you know, it's like, you know. And he's full of this G-O, I don't even know how to spell garbage, you know, full of it. You imagine, multiply that times 50,000 people or 100,000 people with that same attitude. What do you think that does to about square radius of 2 or 3 1,000 yards, not miles, yards, in terms of a community? And we want to go live in the middle of that and call ourselves integrated? You call that disintegrated or disintegration. Yeah. But you need your spiritual nature, the rest of your nature put on, that resists the things that cause dis-ease and transmits itself to us, literally poisoning the human body. Literally poisoning the human body. Okay. Okay, turn to Ephesians, Revelation. Nobody. Revelation, I'm going to turn to Revelation chapter 2. Write this down. Just turn to Revelation chapter 2. The first church. The best way to get a revelation of a mystery is to yearn for mystery. The second best way to get a revelation of a mystery is to read a mystery. Yeah. If you're not curious about things unknown, inquire about things unknown so that you become curious. What opens up your mental avenue for learning is curiosity. But what's problematic in black children is that they're turned off. They have no curiosity about higher knowledge. And they have no appetite for self-knowledge, except it's going to do something stupid. We heard that when Mama said, "Boy, quit acting stupid," and get knocked down. Now it's, let's go do something stupid. That's the result of miseducation. That's misdirection, and it's really costing us too much. It really is. But awakening your faculty of curiosity that's in your brain, which allows you to buy books, read books, and yearn for spiritual experiences and insight, that's important. The other plus is not enough to know that you're God. The effort then is your responsibility to become God, so that you don't die a victim on planet Earth. The first thing you start erasing when you realize that you are God is you start erasing victim from your consciousness. It's because you're going to supplement that with master, able and noble. We're not talking theory, we're talking applied knowledge. The knowledge that will bring you to the statue of Christ, to the statue of generator, operator, destroyer. G-O-D. In this life. And I remember reading one book with that. I got very discouraged one summer. And I picked up this book as the Spirit would have one do when they need an answer. And turned right to the page and started reading this page and said, and the master who had written this particular book said in the middle of the paragraph, "And there's no turning back." And that's true. Once you step both feet upon the spiritual plane, the spiritual platform, there's no turning back. Try to turn it back and you will catch unholy hell. You're catching hell now. But try to get off this path and your own spirit will kick you behind. That's the wrong direction. The whole lift is upward. Of course, the Seeley said in his poem, I love him, said, "While all else on the earth I sit a poet yearning for some skyward desire. Very beautiful line about things spiritual. Because it's even an African poet, and we don't hear too much of it. Often wonder if Africans write poetry. Yes, that they wrote the beginning, the original poems. Okay, where am I here? Revelations 2. To the angel of the church in Ephesus, the one who holds the 7 stars in his right hand, the one who walks among the 7 golden lamps, says this. That one, and why? I remember several years ago, wonder why the stars are in his right hand. And I didn't get any answer because I didn't have enough curiosity and didn't look, didn't read it. Day before yesterday, it just kind of dawned on me. The hand represents giving. The hand represents control. The hand represents presentation. You have something in your hand. It is yours. You have the rights over that thing in your hand. Very, very important to understand that. Because there is something in all of our hands where we can give. Hands are very important. The Arabians did not use implements to eat with because Muhammad was opening the center in the hand so that they could pour substance into their food when they ate with their right hand. It had nothing to do with culture or the devil or wiping with this hand and eating with it. Nothing. The center in the hand. And some black women, when they're happy in the kitchen, they're cooking, the substance goes right in the food. And the brother says, "Oh, baby!" Maybe about that. It just happens. Because it comes from our heart. Very important to know who that is, man. The man who has a good woman really has the blessings of God. Very, very important. Very important. Okay, let me not reminisce here too much. Okay. Because we already talked about the 7 stars. You know what they are in terms of the spiritual lights turned on of the 7 chakras. These are very beautiful drawings here to give you an idea of, I just take a peek at this book. This book has been up here months. Ain't nobody bought this book. What y'all waiting on there, group? This is worth leafing through. The colors here are closer to the kinds of colors that emanate from your spiritual centers. They're close. You know? I mean, that's how beautiful you really are when your stuff opens up. You know? I mean, except every time you look at one of these charts, it's a whiteboard. And I'm putting some charts in my book. Well, Imam Isa did. He had some illustrations of the black man in his book. The lights of stars essentially is the spiritual faculty illumined. Star means illumination. It also represents spiritual being because this is the symbology of a 5-pointed star. It's man himself. Okay. And I meant to talk about this before. This star here is this. Let me do this right now because I went almost 6 months without showing y'all this. And I was sitting in somebody's room talking with them, and suddenly the Spirit turned my attention towards the picture. And again, if I can do it. Oh, God, my bones went to crackling. Okay, I'll almost do it anyway. I should have just drew it on the board. Let me see if I can. This is a pentagram or the tentacle of each man. The position would be, in meditation, would be the lotus position of the legs and the hands placed in this manner. It's 5 points. That is the banner of the Moroccan government, but that's could well be, because I don't have the facts to verify, could well be the original flag of the ancient Moors, so-called Egyptians. At least Noble Drew Ali said it was 50,000 years old. But he just said that. He didn't prove it. He didn't bring any evidence. Van Sertima made a statement to support that idea based on theory when he spoke at Cleveland State. He said it could well be that the Moorish flag is 50,000 years old. The star most assuredly is a part of Egyptian hieroglyphics, but I haven't found the pentagram, the drawn star. The pentagram is not a geometric figure. The five-pointed star is. The pentagram is a measuring device. Well, I'm going to get into that, but I just want that out there. That's something I've been trying to get out there for the past 8 months or something like that. Okay. Symbology tells you that you have a spiritual nature. It keeps verifying that it's fact, because there are times when you wish you didn't have it. Then there'll be times you wonder if you got it. All the doubts. But by knowledge, you reassure yourself of what you are, who you are. And by that fact that you must unfold by your very nature. That's very important, particularly on the days of, quote, tribulation, unquote. And there shall be of those days. Okay. I know your deeds and your toil and your perseverance, and that you cannot endure evil men, and you put to the test those who would call themselves apostles, and they are not. And you found them to be false. False apostles, false prophets are the same centers in the body, the same faculties in the body that don't work right. That's all they are. That secrete the wrong kind of chemistry that affects the way one behaves. A sick gland, for instance, that gives you all kinds of uncontrollable cravings for food, for drink, for sex. The malfunctioning of the brainstem that causes, seemingly, doesn't cause it, allows insomnia. When you can't forget, in your subconscious, can't forget what you look like. So you have to stay awake. As long as your subconscious can remember what you look like, you can't go to sleep. But as soon as it clicks off, you literally collapse. The point, the key I got last week that I want to re-mention is to pay attention to the fact of symbological synonyms. That's important. Your spiritual nature is not that vast, which takes a lifetime to study. But if you look at the symbolisms of Revelation, you see all of this apparent perplexity, complexity, and it's not. It's talking about the same level of your nature from different points of view, like a novel. The writer, evidently, or the spirit of that writer, or writers, was mindful of the fact of not being boring. It's very exciting reading the book of Revelation. Plus, the intent was to hide the knowledge, was to reveal almost a ghost story. Some of this reads like a ghost story. Well, they hid the meaning behind frightening symbolisms. That this is a very good verification of that. Down through all cultures, there are all of these hideous symbols that every culture has, of a mask with teeth and eyes and demons' tails and eagles, to scare and keep out the ignorant, the profane, the immature, the child, and those that would selfishly confiscate power if they could find it in their hands. So they invented this facade, this frightening mask, to hide great knowledge behind. I still have not broken the symbolism of the Aztec timepiece, where the brother has got his tongue stuck out. And you notice, I don't know if Michael doesn't do it anymore, but he used to. He'd drive it in his tongue out. And it really caught my attention, because during that period is when the African invented basketball. The ball didn't bounce. It was a round circle they hung on the side of a wall with a smaller hole in it, and they shot this way through it. But it wasn't a bouncing ball. Peter Tompkins discusses that in his book, Great Secrets of...
Or the Mexican theories, right?
Yeah, right, yes, right. Yeah. But it's definitely a black man's game, no doubt about it. Brothers have verified that quite well. Okay.